Hello dear learners, you're most welcome. I'm teacher Ivan from WUNNA Educational Services. Today marks the beginning of our O-level mathematics topics, and we shall be starting with fractions today because they are one of those topics that are very crucial if we are to understand mathematics very well. So since this is our first lesson, we shall be looking at the very introduction of fractions, right from the meaning of a fraction. Otherwise, I advise you to subscribe and click on the bell such that whenever we have a lesson or whenever we upload a lesson, you get notified and we learn together. So let's begin. We shall start with the meaning of a fraction. Fractions are normally used to describe parts of a whole item or quantity. For instance, if at all I buy a pineapple and cut it into equal parts, let's say 4 equal parts, then each part is representing 1/4 or 1/4 of the whole pineapple, whereby the 2 parts of the same pineapple will be 2/4 of the whole pineapple. If I get a pineapple and I cut it into 4 equal parts, then each part that I have cut is representing 1/4 or 1/4 of the whole pineapple. So 1/4 is a fraction. Then when I get 2 parts out of the 4 I've cut, then they will make a 2/4, meaning that will be 2/4 of the pineapple. So that's why we are saying that fractions are used to describe parts of a quantity or a whole item. Good. So in the figure below, the rectangle is divided into 7 equal parts. And now, out of the 7 parts, 4 are shaded. Meaning, if at all we are to describe the shaded part, it is representing 4/7. So, that part that is shaded is 4/7, representing what is shaded, and the other 3 that are unshaded are the remaining part of the 7 equal parts of the rectangle. So we are using this to bring out the meaning of a fraction. Remember, fractions are used to describe parts of a whole item or quantity. So that is the meaning of a fraction. And therefore, from what we have seen as our examples, a fraction has 2 parts. The numerator, which is representing a given part, divided by the denominator, which represents the whole item or the total quantity. That is a fraction. Let's continue. So our number, which is 4/7, is what we call a fraction, and 7 is our denominator, representing the total divisions that are gotten from our rectangle, and then 4, which is the shaded part, is representing the numerator. So those are the two parts of a fraction. We have the numerator and the denominator. The numerator normally represents the part of the whole that is wanted or represented. Then the denominator is representing the total number of equal parts of a given quantity or a whole item. So that is our brief introduction to fractions. Now let us look at the equivalent fractions. When do we say that these fractions are equivalent or equal? Two or more fractions are equivalent if they have the same value. A fraction will not change its value if its numerator and denominator are multiplied or divided by the same number at the same time. For instance, we have a half, that is 1/2, and we have 2/4, that is 2/4. If you look at a half and 2/4, for instance, if I use the previous example of a pineapple that we cut into 4 equal parts, if I get 2 of the 4 parts and I join them together, they will form 2/4, because I'm joining 2 parts out of the 4, but remember they are equal. But still, it is the same as having a half of the whole pineapple. So meaning that a half, which is 1/2, is equivalent to 2/4, which is 2/4. But this is where it is interesting. We have seen that 2 or more fractions are said to be equivalent if they have the same value. That is to say, if a fraction is multiplied or divided by the same number, then it will not change. For instance, we have 2/5. If we multiply if we multiply the numerator and denominator of this fraction by the same number, let's say 4, so we shall multiply 2 by 4 to get 8. Then we shall multiply 5 by 4 to get 20. So meaning that 8 out of 20, which is now what we have gotten after multiplying, is the same as 2/5 that we had before multiplying, and therefore we shall say that 2/5 is the same as 8/20. In other words, these two are now equivalent fractions. Hope it makes some sense. Then we also have 6/8. 6/8 can be divided by 2. We shall divide the numerator by 2 and also the denominator by 2. We must make sure that the factor that is either multiplying or dividing can divide or multiply the numerator and the denominator. It should not consider only one. we should consider the numerator and denominator. If we are dividing, then we divide the numerator and denominator by the same number, the way we are treating 6 and 8. So if we divide 6 by 2, we get 3. If we divide 8 by 2, we get 4. Meaning that our final answer, which is 3/4, is equivalent to our original fraction, which was 6/8. And therefore, we shall conclude that 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. Just like we saw that 2/5 was equivalent to 8/20. And therefore, we shall conclude that 8/20 is equivalent to 2/5, and 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. But how do we get these equivalent fractions? The first one was gotten by multiplying through by 4, which is a common factor. Then the second was gotten by dividing by 2, both numerator and denominator. But when dividing, we need to be careful, whereby we must make sure that our divisor can divide both the numerator and the denominator. For instance, we shouldn't use 3 because 3 does not divide 8. So it should be a common factor of both the numerator and denominator. So hope we are together on how we get equivalent fractions. They can be gotten by either multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by a common factor, or dividing the numerator and the denominator by the same common factor. Good. So let's continue. Let us look at we are told that when the numerator and the denominator have no common factor, very good. Yes, remember we have just concluded that they should have a common factor, most especially when dividing. So now, how do we handle cases where they don't have a common factor? 6 and 8 had a common factor, which was 2. But now we are going to look at a case where the numerator and denominator have no common factor. Please pay attention. We are told that when the numerator and denominator have no common factors other than 1, then the fraction is said to be in its lowest term. For instance, do you remember how we got 3/4? By dividing 6 by 2 and 8 by 2. So if you look at our final fraction, which was 3/4, those two, the numerator and denominator, have no common factor. 3 has only 3 and 1, whereas 4 has 1, 2, and 4. However, 1 is the common factor of 3 and 4, meaning they have no other common factor. So we shall say that the fraction of 3/4 is in its lowest term, just like 7 over 10. If you look at 7 and 10, they have no common factor. Therefore, 7 over 10, just like 3 over 4, is in its lowest term. So, fractions that are not in their lowest terms can be reduced or simplified by dividing the numerator and the denominator by their highest common factors. Yes, for instance, if we have 9 over 12, 9 over 12 can be reduced because the two have a highest common factor, which is 3. When you divide 9 by 3, you get 3. When you divide 12 by 3, you get 4. Meaning we can reduce 9 over 12 to 3 over 4. So we shall always reduce fractions that are not in their lowest terms. Good. So that takes us to our next part, which is reduction of fractions. But we shall have this in our next episode. Please subscribe, hit the bell, such that we move together as we enjoy learning together. I'm Teacher Ivan from WUNNA Educational Services. See you very soon.